There's a pirate on top of the mast, and then you can meander around and there's a swinging pirate ship ride. Kind of some cool facilities back here that again look like they're kind of cobbled together. I'm Jarrett Lance, and I'm a theme park designer. I've been working in the theme park industry for about 10 years, and I started originally in architecture, kind of with the idea that I'd always go into the theme park design world. So basically, my job at work is to come up with an idea for what is kind of the coolest attraction that we can provide our guests. And I really like doing the layout of an attraction. How do you flow from one scene to the next scene, and what is each scene gonna be kind of at a high story level? I think there'll be some ways to kind of apply the different skills that I've learned into this game. It'll actually be a little bit freeing to not have to worry about the practical reality part of it. Kind of basic thing to first start with is figuring out what the overall story of the park would be or what the overall theme is going to be. Kind of how that divides into different sub-themes that would then become part of the lands essentially that are part of that park. And I'm also trying to think of, what would be the park's icon essentially? What's that big thing that's right there when you kind of first walk into the park? I'm going to go a little bit more traditional theme parky. I'm actually on the main street itself. I'm going to go with kind of a classic fairy tale type main street, and then branching from there can be the different kind of adventure-y realm. So I saw in here there's a lot of pirate stuff that I can play with. There's a lot of Wild West stuff. As kind of a hub that connects everything, I guess I can use kind of this like fairy tale-ish aesthetic. Faraway places can kind of, tie everything together. Some Bavarian buildings. Okay, so we will make it kind of a European style fairy tale little village. Wow, okay, that is really big. Scale, I think, is very important when designing the theme park. You want it to appeal to families with children. It's probably much nicer when building something for families that it's at kind of a cute little scale that, children can appreciate too. All right, here we go. I'm gonna pick some smaller ones to go along the way. And kind of on the main street area, you wanna have a lot of food and services for people when they first come into the park. Guest information, they can go get a map. There's probably a restroom there. Here, I'm gonna put in a little coffee shop. Gotta get your coffee when you first come in. Since it kind of wants to look like a little fairy tale type street, I'm gonna use kind of this stone pathway. Let's try and find some really cool fairy tale like building in order to serve as the icon for the park. So there is a towering inferno. That probably doesn't make much sense for a little fairy tale village, but it is pretty cool. I did see over here a ride. Maybe we'll have a ride be our icon because I found earlier that there's one really cool castle one. Okay, look at this castle. Okay, this is gonna be the icon for our park. This awesome Mario Kart. It kind of reminds me of Princess Peach's castle. We are gonna put that over here as the park's icon. We're eventually gonna come back and add a lot more shops to our sad little main street here. So what I want to do is I found this little castle passage gate. Let's make that kind of our little entry and put the path through there because we don't want to remind people as soon as they get in, like right at the dead end of the street, there's like this huge line of people. We kind of want to keep that hidden away a little bit so, people are going to be a little bit happier. Here's our little portal. We will make a queue. For whatever reason, it's called queue, not a line. We use the British word in the theme park world. A good thing to avoid is having like lots and lots of switchbacks right next to one another. A lot of times with the queue for a themed attraction, you try and kind of wind it around a little bit and give people something to look at on the way and even tell part of the story itself. Let's just make the queue a little bit windy so that we can add in some little scenery afterwards. We got a confetti cannon. So we will go ahead and put in some confetti. Actually, maybe we'll put confetti cannons at the exit because it's like you won the big race, so you get a bunch of confetti cannons at the end. I don't know why they have USA Stars and Stripes on the confetti cannon, but we'll just ignore that for now. Here's a bunch of little candy truffles and stuff. Maybe it'll be like a Candyland go-kart race. So normally, you wouldn't open a park until it's done. We're just gonna open it and see what happens, and hopefully people like it, and we'll just keep building from there. So let's hit play, and hopefully everyone will come running in. Here they go. They're not running. They're walking very slowly and potentially looking a little bit confused, probably as to why this park has really not much to offer. Hopefully they like the one ride that's there. Oh, we got a little village gift shop. Okay, that's very cute. A fairy tale food stall. Okay, that looks really cool. Okay, look at all those people. Clearly this park has been a smashing success. It's important, I think, with a park to try and do things that have a good mix of attractions. I feel like the go-kart thing probably appeals to everyone, but maybe we'll try to add a new land and then add a coaster to it. There was a lot of piratey themed stuff. Maybe let's go with that. A large pirate entrance. We got. Oh, that's really cool. You want like a little bit of kind of decompression space in between so you're not jumping from one theme to another right away. I'll add a little bit more path to connect to that. As soon as we get into the pirate land, maybe we change our landscaping to something different. Why don't we do the sandstone path? Why not? Everything in our little village was straight paths with shops and stuff on both sides of it. But maybe in this pirate land, it feels like a little bit more organic. So the pathways are winding a little bit more. There's a swinging pirate ship, an old favorite. Everyone loves a swinging pirate ship. We're gonna add a bunch of scenery along the way. We're gonna add a lot of palm trees. It wants to feel like a tropical area. Okay, and now let's try to do some type of coaster in this little pirate land. Why not? We'll come back to the pirate land later. We'll branch off this way now. Oh yeah, there's a lot of cool Wild West stuff. So maybe we'll add some Wild West stuff and make a little Wild West city. It'll be kind of a cool contrast to our little fairy tale city. Maybe we'll make this one look like a little town square or something. A Western hotel. Let's try that. We need some more food. Anytime you want your guests to feel like they're in a place, you want to kind of surround them with stuff on all sides to look at. So of course, very different from, shooting a movie or, looking at Broadway play or something like that. This is probably a great place for a coaster. Wooden coasters always feel kind of Western for some reason. I guess just simply because they're made out of wood. People tend to associate them with Westerns. Ooh, it's gonna kind of go through this town. It's almost like this is a little mining town. Place our entrance. Place our exit, a little path around our town. Again, I guess let's go with the little sandstone path. We'll just make like a little town square. Oh, notifications. The high season, multiple shops do not have a vendor. Oh. Well, apparently I have all these shops, but there's no one to work them, so everyone has just been wandering around hungry, which just highlights the importance of people to make these very complicated theme parks run. So I guess I'll figure out how to hire some people. We probably want to find some portal or something that people are going to go through when they enter this Western town. We'll just throw a water tower in there. Every Western town needs a water tower. We'll throw some trees. Western town, I guess, normally wouldn't have very many trees, but it is always kind of a fine balance of guest comfort and realism. Ooh, cactuses. Okay, let's put in some cactuses. Want to mix in kind of a selection of these right at the entrance. We want to hit people over the head right when they come in. Want to put a bunch of cactuses right as they enter that land. So we'll just add kind of some like generic-y looking trees that, maybe these people planted along the way to make their own town a little bit nicer. All right, that's starting to actually look kind of cool. And maybe I'll put some little trees along the way, give people some shade on that pathway so that they're not standing out in the sun. What can I find? Big desert rocks. Like a little bit more of an interesting, entrance to this little Western town. We got our little town square itself. There's a balloon store apparently on the town square, a milliner, which is a hat maker, I believe. So you can go purchase yourself a cowboy hat in that little area. And there's some other cute little services that you can do to make you feel like you're in kind of an old West town. I'm gonna kind of work a little bit more on kind of the European Main Street area. Okay, there's this little cute little thatch roof drink stall along the way. A festive toilet. That is their name they give to the gingerbread themed toilet. You know what? It's a fairy tale village, so it's actually kind of more fun if all of this kind of random stuff is mixed in with one another. Probably want like a little information kiosk. Here's a fairy tale village information kiosk that we can add in. We'll put it right at the exit because that's where people go to complain as well too. So sometimes it's nice to have right at the exit so people can get their complaints out before they go. I mean, hopefully no one complains about this park, but considering there's one ride open, I wouldn't be that surprised if they did. I'm gonna add little evergreen trees because it kind of reminds me of like a little German forest or something like that. Oh, that's actually kind of cute. Some of these trees are probably way too big. They're towering over the buildings that they're next to. And maybe there's some props we can put in this little main street. Statue of a gold jester. We will go ahead and put that in. It's a little bit creepy. Ooh, a marching knight. Okay, we can have like animated figures here. Animated figure essentially is like the fancy name for an animatronic or a robot essentially. It's pretty awesome to have one in your land. You gotta have a lot of money to have one out in the land. A witch casting spells. Let's add her in. She like shoots a little magical effect. So here's the little pirate area. We'll go back and add a little bit more to this. It's a little bit barren right now. Or pirate fortress gift shop. Okay, a pirate fortress. Okay, that is a really lame fortress. It is very small. I would not call it a fortress. I would call it a ramshackle dump. But that's okay. Oh, here we go, pirate food stall. Oh, that's really cool. So here's a little pirate food stall that's also made out of the hull of a ship. Ooh, a pirate villa. Even in the same land, it's kind of fun to have different flavors of things, different takes on the same theme. So there's kind of all this pirate villa stuff that you can add to it, which is kind of another cool take on pirates. Here is the villa itself. It'd be really cool to put a ride behind it, and that's kind of a big entrance. Boom boat, okay. That seems a little bit piratey, a big boat ride. It's like water rapids. I mean, it's kind of a big ride with all the structural supports exposed, so which isn't usually good for a theme park. Luckily, I was kind of able to place it behind this big villa, and I could add some more trees and stuff so that you couldn't actually see any of that when you're walking around the land. Pirate, gotta have some cannons. These ones are really cool cannons because it looks like they actually shoot fire out of them. It's kind of nice in a game that you don't have to worry about any sort of safety consideration of actually shooting cannonballs at your guests. Okay, some barrels, always a good prop. Oh, they're exploding barrels. Wow. Okay, this place is like out of control. A masked treasure chest. Gotta have a treasure chest. Pirates are all about trying to find buried treasure, but the treasure wants to be kind of hidden, so I'm actually not gonna put it like closer to the center of the land. I'm gonna try to find a spot maybe over here. If you look really hard and you're all the way in the back of the land and you look into the bushes, you can find the buried treasure that the pirates left behind. This, at kind of a high level, is the finished park. Pretty small park. There's really kind of 3 anchor attractions. And this is kind of that main street that has the most important stuff that a guest would need. The information booth, restrooms, maybe you can get a coffee when you first come into the park. The castle itself has kind of one of those anchor attractions, which is the go-kart attraction that lots and lots of people look like they're enjoying. The line is basically out the door. On one side, we have kind of this western town. It's kind of separated a little bit from the fairy tale area with a long path so that you can kind of have this buffer zone. You can transition into a new theme. And when you enter this western town, you're kind of greeted by these red rocks that kind of remind you a lot of kind of the American Southwest. And then there's kind of this western town square. You can see the coaster in the distance. And again, just wanted to look kind of like your traditional town square in a western town, essentially. And then the other land over on the other side, a different type of adventure, much different than the Old West. The pirate land is built out a lot of shipwrecked parts and pieces. It's kind of hobbled together. It's a little bit more organic. The pathways wind around. Pirates remind me of kind of discovery and adventure. There's kind of an icon in the middle of that land itself. There's a pirate on top of the mast, and then you can meander around and there's a swinging pirate ship ride. Kind of some cool facilities back here that again look like they're kind of cobbled together from shipwrecked parts and pieces, like maybe the pirates who are in this area. They crashed many years ago and had to kind of, live on this island on their own. There are really cool cannon special effects in the middle of the land. And then over here, if you wander around, discover enough, there's kind of a different flavor of pirate, which is kind of the fancy, established pirate who lives in this opulent pirate manor. And the pirate land looks really badass at night because there's a lot of cannons and fire and glowing lanterns, so that's always a plus. Given the limited amount of time, this park's pretty decent, but very small. Luckily, you pay per attraction at this park. I hope everyone liked this. Come on over and check out the park when it opens for real. We'll see. If anyone out there wants to fund the creation of this park, get in touch with me and we'll make this thing a reality.